What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Cruisin with Kevin, presented by Crep Protect and powered by Genesis. I'm your host, Kevin Quank, and we've got another great guest for you today. DJ Meechy Meech has built up a huge following on Instagram. He's at 1.1 million there. He's already racking up numbers on YouTube as well. What's up, shawty? And he's going to give us some insight into how he's built his following, what keeps him going, and some inspiring travel stories as well. You guys get to come along for the ride. Let's get it.
One life to live, one life to shine. I pray to God that I live my life right. So in the meantime, in between time, get you some money, baby, and I'ma try my best to do likewise. And I know that money coming, I know that hustle coming. I am right. I'm trying to get it right. Yeah.
DJ Meechy Meech, welcome to Cruisin with Kevin, presented by my good friends over at Crep Protect. Once you're back home, I'll make sure to send you this care package. It's all these different shoe cleaning products, because I know you gotta look good on South Beach, bro. So I'll have you dialed in from my good friends at Crep Protect. Let's start with this, bro. First off, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. As good as I can do in this pandemic, you know?
I feel it. You're actually traveling right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Colombia right now.
Nice, dude. What part of Colombia are you in?
Right now I'm in Bogota.
Nice, dude. So my brother, he went to Cali, Colombia, and by himself. He went to Cali for like, I want to say a week or 10 days or something. He said it was one of the best trips of his life. And we went to Brazil together, but I know that like just Cali holds a special place in his heart. Have you been to Colombia before, or this is your first time?
Man, this is like my fifth, sixth time coming, so.
We were actually saying, this is like right before COVID, because a group of us, including my brother, like our group, mutual friends, we went to Mexico the summer before this one that just passed. And we were like, all right, next summer, let's go to Colombia. Let's go to Bogota, or let's go to Medellin. And then coronavirus hit and we didn't end up going anywhere. But, you know, like I said, we've been to Brazil before. So that was like a taste of South America for me. And I think just traveling, and especially now where it's like, you know, you're in a field and I'm, you know, trying to do the same, where we can work from wherever we are. And that's the great thing about the content that we are creating, and especially at your level where you're literally able to live off of it, including DJing as well. What's it feel like for you just to be able to go to Colombia whenever you want to and go to these different places? You were in Africa last time I talked to you. Like, just the fact that you're able to live and travel and still make a living, what's that like for you, man?
Me personally, man, the way I see it is there's no price on freedom. You know, there's no amount of money you can pay me to be locked down and unhappy for, you know, most of my life. I don't want to wait, because, you know, most men, you know, don't live past 70. So, I mean, I don't want to work till I'm 65 and then have 10 years of freedom. You know, by then I just want to sit still. But like, you know, so for me, it's just, it means the world to me to be able to, you know, I don't try to brag or flex like I'm just some multi-millionaire or something like that. Yeah. I just believe in doing what I love, and as long as I'm good, then that's all that matters to me, because I just want to be able to travel and see different places and just have freedom and have my time, you know, to enjoy life. So it's very important to me, and it means the world to me, and that's all that matters, is just being able to have that freedom.
That's so dope, man. What's been the one place, I know this is always tough, it'd be tough for me. I think for me it would be Rio de Janeiro, when we went there for 3 weeks and experienced Ipanema and Copacabana and these just amazing beaches and scenery and nightlife, et cetera, and just the energy of that city. Has there been one place for you where you're like, all right, if I had to leave the States forever, this is where I'd come. This has been the most amazing place I've visited so far?
That's a tough one. It would be either Africa or it would be Colombia. Yeah. It's really like Africa just felt like home. Like it was like, okay, this is like my ancestors, you know, this is where they came from and stuff like that. And it just, the amount of people that were just so friendly was just like, that's what drew me in the most. It's just like everybody, I didn't meet one rude person the entire time I was there, you know. And but in Colombia, Colombia is beautiful too. I love Colombia, but I would say just the niceness of people, the cultural aspect, and the fact that most people in Africa speak English too, especially in Kenya. So I would say if I had to pick a place for the rest of my life, it would be Kenya.
That's awesome, man. When you've been traveling, whether it's in the States or, you know, around the world, I guess, have you ever had people come up and recognize you? And if so, how does that make you feel knowing all the hard work that you put into your content?
To be honest, I always feel like it just doesn't like it. I always forget that people know me. Like I do my videos, I put my computer away, put my phone away, and then like I go back to normal life. And then I'll go somewhere. Hey, you DJ Meechy Meech. I'm like, oh damn, I forgot people know me. Like I've always been an introvert. I've always been to myself and just like in my own personal space, in my own life. And it's just so weird when people recognize me, and even over in other countries, like people know me in the States, but like I was so blown away by how many people knew me in Africa. People that knew me, even the people that hit me up, oh, you're in Colombia, hey man, let's hang out and let me get a picture with you and stuff like that. I'm like, how do people know me? Like I don't even post videos of myself like that. Everything is a voiceover. So how do y'all even know who I am? But it always shocks me. It takes me by surprise because I'm just so used to going through life, you know, being introverted and, you know, thinking that nobody knows me, and, you know, and then when people, oh yeah, DJ Meechy, I'm like, oh damn. Now it's like I have to be more conscious of what I'm doing, you know, and because people, you know, everybody has a cell phone, and people know me, so it's like, okay, I just have to like chill and be even more introverted now because people are watching. But it's always a shock to me because I'm like, dude, how the hell do y'all recognize me?
That's awesome, man. When you're traveling, all right, so say you've got a week in Colombia and you're only packing a carry-on. What's a pair or a couple pairs of shoes that you have to bring every time? Like what would be your go-to kicks to bring on a trip like that? But if it was like you wanted to stun a little bit, what would you bring along with you?
Honestly, I try to blend in when I go to other countries as much as possible, but I do pretty much, I usually rock some Yeezys or something like that if I'm going to be on foot a lot, walking around. But usually like some basic, like I wear a lot of black shoes. You know, black shoes last forever, you know. You don't have to clean them as much and stuff like that. But I usually rock black Yeezys out the country, and that and some flip flops. And I'm a pretty simple packer, you know. I've learned to trim it down. I don't check bags anymore. It's all just like 2 backpacks, and I'm good.
You know, when I went to Manila, there was it was like basically like a flea market mall. They sold a bunch of fake shit. I've never bought a pair of like expensive Yeezys or anything. We went to this place, I want to say it was called Green Hills Mall. And we walked in and it was like walking into a huge flea market, but it was just all shoes, at least on that level and in that space, in that area. And it was just wall to wall, fake Jordans, Yeezys, everything you could think of, like just the most expensive shoes, but they were just all fake. And I remember trying on a pair of black Yeezys, and I was like, these are the most comfortable shoes I've ever tried on. And they weren't real at all. And I bought them for like $20, and I've worn those shoes on so many trips because they stay pretty much clean. They always look pretty clean, and I don't care about them because they were $20, but they look cool and they're hella comfortable. I love those kicks.
And they won't even get creased either. So, you know.
Exactly. All right, last question about shoes. So I just had to tie this into Crep Protect because obviously a lot of the stuff that they make is all shoe accessories. If it was like a night in South Beach and you wanted to stunt, is there one pair of shoes that would like be easy for you to pick out? Like, all right, yeah, I would definitely go with those that time because I'm not worried about messing them up.
Man, I would go back to the Yeezys. To be honest, I go straight back to the Yeezys. That, or if I wanted to really go out and like to something more formal or just like more upscale or something like that, just some loafers, and a blazer or something like that, or a nice button down, something basic like that.
I like it, bro. I like it. So obviously, you mentioned you're an introvert. You also come off as just being like salt of the earth. Hey, man, I'm going to pack a couple backpacks. I'm not trying to show out. I just want to experience these different places and enjoy my life and kind of stay in the cut, stay out of the way, and just do my thing. Were you born in Louisville?
Yeah, born and raised.
So what is it about that area that, like, later on in your life, you've noticed, all right, I'm this way because of Louisville? Is that why it's just like, hey, I'm a simple man, I'm easy to please, because you came up in a town, like kind of like that blue collar mentality of hardworking folk and family atmosphere? And do you feel like that's why you are the way that you are, because of Louisville?
It's a good question. I would say what really made me is just leaving, because, I love my hometown, but it was like for me, it was more so like it was like a one horse town, because when I would travel, and this is before I was traveling overseas, when I was just traveling to another state, like when I would travel to Orlando or just anywhere, like any other state that I went to, I just noticed how people were moving around different, how different groups of people were doing different things. And I just was like, man, I want to try something different. So, but in where I came from, it was all about being flashy and stuff like that. Even when you didn't have it, but even when you didn't have the money, but like moving to Florida opened my eyes up, and I started seeing things like, okay, it is possible to be a millionaire, and I don't have to because I'm seeing Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff every single day. And then you start realizing like, okay, I don't really need to go out of my way to flex for anybody, especially if I'm not, multi-millionaire yet. So what's the point of me going out and getting a $40,000 car to impress people when I can put that $40,000 into an investment or something like that. And then when I started going overseas, I started seeing how like people, I'm seeing people who people still living in tribes and stuff like that. And like people who like had to walk for miles to get water out of a river, and like people having to make fire. We have so many luxuries in the state. I'm not trying to virtue signal or nothing like that, but we have so many. What it taught me was like we have so many luxuries in America, and we complain about so much, but like there's so many people who don't have shit in other places, and that woke me up a lot too. And I was like, okay, yeah, I really don't need to be wasting money on a bunch of stupid stuff. But I grew up like that. I grew up like if I had an extra $2 in my pocket, you better believe I spent $1.75. So, but yeah, man, I would say both. Just like growing up in a one horse town and just exploring and seeing how the rest of the world moves.
I've noticed that, we used to travel to Mexico as a kid, and that was so important for not only myself, but my brother, my family members, and because right away you see, wow, even like my friends who were struggling the most were way better off than these kids in Mexico. And it just makes you grateful for what you have, literally the luck of the draw of what family you were born into, what situation you were born into. And now as I've gotten older, the more that I travel, I feel like that's the most important lesson that I always learn or am reminded of when I come home is like, so many people have it worse off than myself and you, etc. And I think that it's important for us to remind ourselves that, because there are obviously times where we have our own struggles and our own issues and things that we need to overcome, but a lot of them are first world problems and pale in comparison to what other people are facing. When you were coming up in Louisville, I know that you at one point got into being a radio DJ, and you were DJing at a club out there. But was that your goal as a kid? Was it like, hey, I always wanted to be a radio DJ, or were you into sports? Like, what was your childhood like in terms of looking toward the future and what you wanted to become later on in life at that age?
I would say I've always been into music. I have baby boomer parents. I'm 35, but my parents are like almost 70. And so I have really, really old school parents. And I remember being a teenager listening to, like old 60s and 70s music and stuff like an old man. I remember just collecting music, CDs and tapes and stuff, 90s music and 80s music and everything. And I've always been a music lover of pretty much, there's not a lot of music that I don't listen to. Like I can, I'm 35, but I can still listen to the stuff that the Gen Z kids are listening to. I can still get down with some of it, and still listen to my old school. And I guess for me, it was like just always being a lover of music. And then one day it just kind of finally clicked. And I was like, man, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and start DJing. Cause like I would, every time there was like a house party or or even driving in the car with a bunch of people, I was the guy that always hogged the aux cord and stuff like that. So, but the thing is, the only thing about DJing is like, it has nothing to do with my voiceover stuff. Like my comedy has nothing to do with it. So, DJing is my passion, and comedy is my passion too. But I'm more of like on the writer side. I'm not much on the stand up side of things. But I just like making people laugh and bringing people joy, and I like making people dance too. But I've had to kind of take a few steps back on DJing, not just because of COVID, but it was like, okay, I got to put more of my effort into my videos, because that's like, all right, that's where money's coming in, so that's where my freedom can come from, so that's why I've been putting most of my focus on.
I feel it, man. So in 2014, you were doing the DJ stuff heavy. You were at WGZB 96.5 FM in Louisville. You were at Cole's Place DJing. And then 3 years later, you had your first real big video that was a Conor McGregor boxing match. Was that the fight against Mayweather that went viral for you?
Yeah, it went stupid, dog. It went crazy viral. Like it was everywhere. Like celebrity after celebrity, like big sports page after sports page. And I think I had like 10,000 followers or something like that when it first went viral. And then, but that's how I learned how to like entertain and keep an audience. Cause like it doesn't matter. You can have like Kim Kardashian or The Rock can give you a shout out today. It doesn't mean anything. You have to be able to keep that audience. And when that traffic comes, your page needs to already have a shitload of good content. But I'm sure you're an influencer too, so you already know. But yeah, that was my first lesson on like, okay, I got to take these damn vacation pictures down. Let me put up some content and stuff like that. But yeah, that was my first major breakthrough with the comedy stuff.
How long had you been making videos before that moment?
Not long. Like it literally happened in a few months. It was a few months, because I remember it all happened in like 2017. I don't remember making videos in 2016. I believe it was just 2017, and it just started blowing up.
And then a couple years later is when you made the move down to Miami. So during that span, was there a moment for you, like you mentioned, like a one-horse town kind of thing. Was there a moment for you in Louisville, you're creating content, you've had this big viral moment, and you're building off of that? Was there a moment where you were like, this area is limiting me, I gotta get out? Or was it more of a move of like, I've just always wanted to live in Miami, feels like a good time, I think I can make it happen financially, let me go check it out?
I didn't give a damn about living in Miami. I just knew that every time I went to Florida and I would check out the clubs, they were playing like, of course, hip hop. They were playing dance hall. They had a ton of reggae, Spanish clubs, reggaeton, and they're playing all these different varieties and different genres. And I'm like, dang, I can't do that at home. Like I collect this kind of music, but I can never play it. and it wasn't a knock on where I'm from, but it was a smaller town that they didn't have as much diversity. So, when you go to Florida, it's like there's a million people from the Caribbean, every country you can think of. People are speaking every different language you can think of, and it's like the diversity is just crazy. So I was like, all right, I gotta come to Florida so I can, I want to DJ the Spanish clubs, the dance hall clubs, the Afro beats parties, I wanted to expand, and I couldn't do that in my hometown.
How challenging is it to go to a new city, and even though you have a social media following, to break into some of these clubs? Like, I'm sure you had the idea and it sounded good on paper, and you're like, all right, I feel like this is the time to do it. But actually getting into Miami and trying to crack into some of these clubs, was it more challenging than you imagined, or were you able to kind of leverage your social media following and doors open right away for you?
Well, that's the thing. It was like a gift and a curse. And that's another reason why I kind of took a backseat to my DJing. I put DJing on the back burner for now. The reality is, when you have this big following and you go to a club, okay, whether the promoter knows you or not, they want some of that too. They want you to like promote their club and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, you know what? This does not work with my page. It's like it's messing up my engagement. It's like it's messing up my numbers. All right, nah, I'm not. Pay me like a regular DJ. I'm not even. I don't even want you to know anything about my social media. Just, I'm a regular guy. Hey, what's up? And then I started, at one point I was throwing my own parties, and I learned a lot from that too, how to throw my own and just promote. But it was like, all right, it's taking so much time away from my comedy and this humongous thing that I already have. So I was like, okay, let me just put my energy back into my social media and building my YouTube and my Instagram and all my platforms again, because that's what's right in front of me right now.
No, I feel it, man. I think that's always the challenge, is like, how do you appease the people who came to you for this one thing, and then try to expand off of that? Sometimes people are down to see the growth. Sometimes people are just like, nah, man, we need the videos. We need those coming every day.
Yeah, and it was a hard pill to swallow. And it was like, all right, you know what? Let me just stick to, the most important platform right now. And DJing is like, I love DJing, but if I do any more DJing, it's just going to be like a separate YouTube channel where it's like just me DJing or something like that. And I got to chill on the clubs and stuff like that, because I'm not promoting any clubs and posting no more damn club flyers on my damn page. And oh God, never again.
I know that DJ Jazzy Jeff was a guy that you looked up to, DJ Scratch as well. At what age did you get into, I know music's always been around you in your life, but was there an age where you started to notice particular DJs like Jazzy Jeff and Scratch and these other guys that you started to kind of gravitate toward? You remember when that was?
Like, when I first started DJing, it was just like, I started out very basic. I started out with, basically an electronic DJ, where you are DJing with the, equipment. You're using controllers and stuff like that, but you're not using like vinyl. Like nobody really uses vinyl. No one's using records and stuff DJing in the club these days. Everybody has a laptop, a thumb drive, and stuff like that. But what I started noticing, the more I learned about DJing, was like, okay, so now that I know what I'm doing with this electrical aspect, I started realizing what the guys before me, generations before me, were doing. And they were literally in DJing with crates and, records and the needles and stuff like that. And, they weren't sitting at home on a computer downloading music and stuff like that. So, definitely, hats off to them, and, respect to the people that paved the way, for DJing and stuff like that.
One thing I was going to ask you was, sports are such a huge part of these videos that you create and these voiceovers you make. Your basketball videos are just absolutely hilarious. I love that the season picked back up, because I've been you know, you're dropping them like every other day. I'm seeing a new video from you, whether it's Kevin Durant or a diss song from James Harden or LeBron or all this funny stuff. Did you play sports growing up, or did you just always have an affinity for watching them or enjoying them?
No, I never watched sports growing up. I just started doing it. Like, I tell you, like, I mean, to be completely honest, like, I just started watching sports like over the past, I don't know, probably around the time I started DJing, like around that time. And I started doing voiceovers and stuff, and then it just started, it grew on me. It's like, okay, then I started like researching the history, and I started learning all the, you know, the ins and outs of, like, you know, the Shaq, the Kobe, the, you know, going back to, you know, Magic Johnson, and, you know, Kareem, and, you know, just I spent a lot of time researching, because when you make jokes, you know, you have to know what the hell you're talking about, you know, because sometimes there's like these underlying, you know, narratives that aren't said, but people know. And sometimes to make something funny, you have to know that underlining situation. So I did a lot of research, and then I doing so much research, I ended up loving sports. I fell in love with sports, but mainly NBA. But yeah, so I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up as a big fan of sports. I didn't.
That's crazy, because, you know, for me, I used to do, you know, so I did the sports broadcasting thing as a career, but when I look back at my childhood, I was always into sports, and when we would play video games, I would do like a play-by-play broadcast of the game. So not only would I be like whooping on one of my buddies, but I would be like broadcasting the game as well. And a good friend of mine, Sean, shout out to Sean staying there from Washington State. We've talked since then, and he's like, you know, it used to be so frustrating, because not only would you be like, because I was always playing video games. So he's like, you would be beating us in these games, but it was like you were talking shit too. And we're like 10, 11 years old, and you're broadcasting the game as you're whooping our ass. It was like the fucking most frustrating thing for him. But later on, like, obviously that's why it was kind of almost without a thought, I just wanted to get into sports broadcasting. But I'm curious for you, because you didn't grow up in that same space, that, like, do you remember a moment where you were like, you know what, I want to do a voiceover of this boxing match, or this UFC fight, or this basketball game? Like, what the hell gave you that idea to do it anyways, because it wasn't really like ingrained in you as a kid?
I remember back in like 2006, my friends, I mean, we were like 20 at the time, 19, 20. And there's this old video on YouTube. It's called I'm the Juggernaut Bitch. And I remember like
okay, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm the Juggernaut Bitch. It's still funny to this day. I still watch it sometimes, but basically it's some old X-Men cartoon. And it was a Juggernaut running around beating up people. And it was just funny. It was like three dudes doing a voiceover of different cartoons, and like they did the Ninja Turtles, like Bebop and Rocksteady, and like the old school cartoon. And this was in 2006, but I always told myself, I was like, man, one day I'm gonna make a voiceover. That stuck with me in 2006, but I never did it until the first voiceover I did was like I believe this was 2017, and I did it. This was the first sports voiceover I did, and it was of it wasn't even lip syncing or anything. I was just like talking, and I just made it for my friends, and then I put it on Facebook, and it did like 50,000 shares. I was like, damn, and that's what sparked my interest to like, all right, I'm gonna start making some more voiceovers and stuff like that. The first time I did, I was just joking around. I didn't expect it to go viral. And then after that, the Mayweather one happened, and it just kept going. It was a snowball effect.
That's so wild. I actually remember watching that fight, I was at my buddy Taj, who's actually a really popular music video director. Shout out to Taj Stansberry. And I was at his place. We were watching that fight, and it was a crazy night because I remember, you know, like as a kid, we would watch boxing matches and stuff, and never in my wildest dreams would I would have imagined that you'd have one of the most famous boxers ever going up against a UFC guy. It was just an interesting night. I remember feeling like, what the hell's going to happen in this fight? And then of course, Mayweather, you know, has kind of controlled it throughout. But when like you go from that moment to where you are now, how much has your process of making these videos changed, and how much time goes into like watching highlights, watching games? You even said it yourself, studying some of the backstories of this stuff and really learning about and building your knowledge of these different sports and teams and players, etc. Like how much has that grown over the years?
I started out very, very basic. Like the first one I did it on my phone, you know, and that's the one that did like 50,000 shares on Facebook. And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a laptop. And I got a laptop and I started editing, you know, very basic voiceover editing software. And then like in recent years, actually in the past year, I've used like actual paid versions of video editing software that give me more tools. And so now, like in recent months, I have like so many more tools, so many different things and that I can do now that I wasn't able to do. So so I would say it's a huge difference because I've reinvested into, you know, my setup, you know, mics and software and stuff like that. And you know, it takes more time with certain things. Like sometimes a video would take like, you know, 5 minutes, you know, and then it'll go viral. It'll go crazy. And then sometimes you get, you know, it's just the ups and downs. Sometimes I'll spend like 2-3 days working on a video and it won't even do like 3-4, it'll do like 400,000 plays. I'm like, what the? It should be doing like millions. You know what I'm saying? I just put so much work into this. But sometimes it's like that. Like I tell you one video. I did the LeBron rapping. The bitch, I'm the king, you can call me your majesty. That one. That was the first rap voiceover I did. And I wrote that, like I wrote it in like 15, 20 minutes. I just threw it together and wrote it up. And then I posted it. You know, I editing took me like 5-10 minutes, and then I just posted. I'm like, all right. And I threw it up, and people were going crazy. I'm like, what? I almost deleted it. Like I'm, you know, it was like one of those when you just like sending a risky text to a chick late at night or something like that. It was like that. I was like, all right, this is the first time I wrote a song and then like posted it and rapped, you know, and they was loving it, man. They were loving it. So, and I've done more videos like that with me rapping and stuff like that, and they love it. So I'm going to continue doing that. And but it just goes to show you, you know, like sometimes you can spend 5 minutes and it can be the biggest video you've ever done, and then sometimes you can spend 2 weeks editing video with special effects and everything, and then it don't do nothing. Like it'll do no numbers, and you're like, man, I just wasted my time.
Well, I think it also goes to show you when you're willing to step out of the box and give people something different. And it's not like courage isn't the word, but it's the ability to not give a fuck to a certain extent and be like, look, this is something that I think could work. If it doesn't land, oh well, it is what it is. I'll go back to what I was doing, but at least you're being creative, you're pushing the envelope, and you're trying to think outside of the box that sometimes is placed around you. And I always think that's dope because there are times when, you know, we post stuff and we see how certain things do. Some do well and some don't do as well. And it's almost like you either don't want to go back to doing that or you're scared to do something else different in the future. And I think the more that creators can just really, truly create what they want and whatever they feel like doing, and sometimes it's going to do well and other times not. And like in your case, it went crazy, and it's also like giving you some extra motivation to continue to do them. Like you just did a Harden and LeBron one not that long ago. Like, so for you, how much fun is that to like see that grow and then be like, all right, I get to go do some more of these. Now I'm going to go back in the booth and drop this disc and do some different creative shit.
Yeah, it's very motivational, man. And I got another one that I'm working on now. Like it just comes together, man. Like I don't know. Like I couldn't just sit up and write a song. I guess it's when I have stuff on my mind, certain things I want to say. When you can put it into the lyrics of a song, I don't know. It just comes together easier for me. And even when I first write a song, like most of the time I'm like, this is corny as hell. But after I listen to it, a couple times, I'm like, damn, that was actually nice. Like, and it's usually after I done posted it. And then like I'm listening to it, and like I listen to it for like a whole day straight. Like I listen to it over and over and over. I'm like, you know what? That actually was high. That was actually high. And it was like, that one bar, and people, I read comments, and like people will be like, oh man, he said this and this and that. I'm like, and I go back and listen to it 100 times. I'm like, you know what? That was actually nice. I thought it was corny as hell at first, but you know what? That was a bar.
I know that you're a big DMX fan, and It's Dark and Hell is Hot was like one of your favorite CDs. Is there one MC, whether it be DMX or somebody else, that you would just love to like be in the studio with, kind of just doing what you're already doing and just creating and having that a moment with somebody like that?
Ah, man, that's a tough one, man, because like, I don't have like a favorite artist of any kind, but I love like certain work from like just a million different people. Like I love this song, I like this melody, I like just different pieces, whether it was like a hip hop song or a Spanish song, a dance hall, Afro beats, whatever. Like I just like certain work from certain artists, and then I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I can't think of anybody that like I would just love to be in the studio with, off the top of my head. Thinking back to like my teenage days, like some of my raps kind of are, I guess if I had to pick like a certain influence of how my style is, and it's not even that I'm trying to imitate it, it's just like it's just was so engraved into me, like in my teen years, like just like riding in the car and playing certain mixtapes back in the day as a teenager. I remember listening to like some rap groups from they was like super underground, but it was like these rap groups from Texas, from Dallas and Houston, and like Lil Flip and and it's a super underground. It was called DSR, and like all they did was freestyle. Like they was just like freestyle, and they was just like dropping bars. Riding on chrome. They were just like just going in, like, and that's what always kind of like inspired me, But if I was in the studio, like when I listen to them rap, it always gets me hyped. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like stuff like that. If I had to pick somebody, it would be somebody like that, somebody from my teenage years.
Yeah, Lil Flip and the Cloverland boys. I remember at one point, Lil Flip was the biggest artist in the country. Now I remember him and T.I. had beef.
It was like a Ja Rule thing. Like, I didn't really hear about him dropping much music after that, but I don't know. He just kind of he did something else. Maybe he did other business ventures or something like that. But T.I., he continued on, especially 05, 2005, 6, and 7. T.I. was huge. It was like right after the beef. The beef was like, 04, something like that. And I remember back in the day, man, like listening to those on bootleg mixtape CDs, and listening to them, because you couldn't go on YouTube and like pull up the rap battles and all of that. You had to like somebody had to burn it for you. So I'm old, man. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. We're from the same era, same generation, dog. But those were the days, man. Oversized T-shirts, baggy jeans, headbands.
Yeah, man. Big ass jerseys and.
Did you have an old Mitchell Ness?
Yeah, I had a crazy jersey collection, man. I had jerseys, man. I was like, and that was back. Okay, that was back when the way I grew up. I was always like, if I had if I had $200, I would spend $100 on a jersey. You know what I'm saying? That's how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, like I had a crazy collection. I was buying jerseys and I wasn't even watching sports. I didn't know nothing about it, but I just had to have a throwback jersey on.
Oh, that's wild, dude. You were ahead of your time back then. You were like, it was almost predestined that, you went from rocking the jerseys to now making a living and traveling off of sports, man. I think you're doing all right for yourself. It's awesome to see where it's all taking you.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Is there, kind of as we wind down, is there one thing? I know that you've obviously really gone back into creating videos and doing the voiceovers heavy and have stepped away from DJing a bit. With that said, is there something that you are looking forward to, whether it's like a goal that you're hoping to accomplish or something that keeps you motivated, keeps you getting up in the morning and chasing a goal or a dream that you're working toward in the future as you build off of your success?
Yeah, I would say, for me, I'm still a one-man show. It's like I don't have like a team or, I don't have like a focus group or nothing like that. It's all just me. I come up with my own ideas. I come up with, how I'm going to market myself, and it's the one-man show. And with that, it's another gift and a curse because I was so focused on Instagram, like from 2017 on. Over the past year, I just now made a YouTube account. Like I just made a YouTube. So that has been my motivation over the past year, is just like building my YouTube up. Cause like in my opinion, Instagram is the hardest damn place to get followers. Like it's the hardest place to get engagement. Cause it's like YouTube, people can just type in your name and search all your videos, and they can just find your page, or if other people repost your stuff, they can just find your content really easy on YouTube. But on Instagram, it's very hard. And it's not like people go there to find music videos or like to find certain content is very difficult. To find like a certain person it's not the same. The algorithms are different and it's just not the same. And because like, think about it, like Facebook, you can share, it's so easy to share stuff, YouTube, super easy to share stuff. But Instagram, like, how can you share it? Like, just put it in your story for, 24 hours or whatever. It's not like you can just easily share it as a post. So YouTube is a lot easier. And I wish I had got on YouTube a long time ago when I first started. Things would have been a lot different, even better, far further on than where I am now. But that's just something I had to learn along the way. But that does motivate me now. It's just to kind of make up for the 3 or 4 years that I wasn't on YouTube. And so the next goal is just like, to get my YouTube to 1 million. Because right now I think I'm about to hit 100,000. And, it's the first year on YouTube. So I want to get my YouTube to 1 million. And I want to eventually like build up a DJ page just for a YouTube page just for DJing. And like, it's completely separate. Whatever numbers it do is what numbers it does. It's not getting promoted through my Instagram or nothing like that. It's just going to be separate. And I'll just kind of work that system up, naturally, organically and stuff like that. So those are my main focuses right now. So, yeah.
Awesome, bro. That's dope. It's cool that you're seeing that, because that's a goal of this show, is to try to build up a YouTube following as well. My more long-term goals are much more YouTube centric than they are Instagram centric. It's more long form content, and also has to do with traveling and sports and stuff. So Meech, I'm showing you some outside shots of the car. Do you feel like this is South Beach worthy? I need to get some feedback of the whip on what you just saw, brother.
Yeah, it's nice. When I see a Genesis, I think of it as like a BMW Benz, upscale type of whip. So I like Genesis. I want one.
You are making this so damn easy, bro. I thought you are. I'm gonna get on the horn with Genesis and try to get you one of these too, because you're obviously, you know how to talk about for a brand sponsorship, man. I know that you're used to seeing, and same here. Like when I go to Beverly Hills and stuff, you see these Lamborghinis, these Maseratis, and these different cars. But it's almost like you see them, and you see so many of them. I almost become numb to some of these cars. But when you see, like, what makes you think of? I guess the question I'm asking is, what makes you think of a Genesis in the light of a Beamer or a Benz? Is it just the way that they look? Is it maybe a past experience? You've been in the car before? Like, what makes you kind of correlate those two?
I've never been inside one, but every time I see one driving, the first thing it pops in my mind. I'm like, okay, that's a BMW. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a Genesis. They look alike. I mean, they have like that luxury, that foreign luxury look. The nice big body, 4-door sedan. But yeah, I like them. I like Genesis.
No, I love this car, man. They actually just came out with a GV80, which is their first SUV. This is the G70, which is like their sporty car. So this is 365 horsepower. It's a 3.3 turbo engine. And this thing hauls, bro. Like I'm at 60 miles an hour in like 4.2 seconds or something crazy like that. It's by far the fastest car I've driven. And I actually have an old like muscle car, but even that is not nearly as quick as this thing. This is like, it's like being a little rocket, bro. It just fucking takes off. When you make it big, is there like a dream car that you equate with success? Or is your mind so far from that, like, no, I just want to travel and invest my money. Like, I don't even really care about the car aspect.
Man, honestly, I would say before I kind of switched over to a more frivol lifestyle, I wanted a new Camaro or a new Charger. Just something like it has to be muscular, it has to be fast, like the Genesis, something like that. And at least it has to be over 350 horsepower, and that's what I wanted. And but now it's like, no, I don't care how much money I got. Like I'm gonna keep the same car. It's paid off. I'm just gonna keep driving it. But if I had to pick a car, it would definitely be something muscular. It has to be something with some get up, something powerful.
That's dope, bro. All right, well, let's finish with this then, man. You've obviously had an amazing run through Instagram. You're building up your YouTube. Is there anything that you would like to say to your biggest supporters, the people that have held you down these past few years and that you're hoping to build with for years to come?
I appreciate everybody that, supports me. I get like 1 million DMs every day. I don't really post this kind of stuff much, but sometimes I think I should, at least like in a story, but like people will DM me all the time and every single day. Oh man, I've been going through so much, and your videos, make me, put me in a better spirit, and I've just been going through so much lately, and I love your page and your videos, and like stuff like that. I see that kind of stuff. I just don't want to share people's like personal moments, something that they, felt deep down inside to tell me. But I do see it, and it is very touching. I do appreciate it. And, just everybody that rocks with me, everybody that, supports my content, I appreciate it. Even if I don't get to follow you back, or if I don't get to DM you back or whatever, I see a lot of it, and I appreciate it, I appreciate everybody that's rocking with me.
Well, Meech, I appreciate you taking the time, bro. Seriously, man. I know you're traveling, you're in Colombia. There's a lot more fun things that you could be doing. Believe me, I know from my time in Brazil. So for you to take an hour out to hang out with me, man, is much, much appreciated, dude. So safe travels for the rest of your trip. Have a blast out there. And once you're back, I'll make sure to send a little Crep Protect care package your way, bro. I appreciate the time in the meantime.
Appreciate it, man.
Much love, bro. Take care. Be safe out there.
You too, man.
Such a good dude, and some great motivation for all of you, hopefully, to travel, to get out and see the world. We all work really hard, and to get to reward yourself the way that DJ Meechy Meech is doing makes it all worth it. So appreciate him taking the time to join me here on Cruisin' with Kevin. Of course, got to thank the sponsors, Crep Protect and Genesis, for keeping the lights on in this place. Thank y'all as well for coming along for the ride, joining me in supporting this dream of mine. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time right here on Cruisin' with Kevin.
Marathon continues. TMC.